Well, OutSystems is a very unique. It's in a very unique position in the market because our problem that we are trying to solve is the inconvenience that the insurance industry is facing with applications and keeping up with the market essentially. So what we provide for insurance and other industries is the capability for them to evolve their application landscape as fast as possible and keep up with the change requests or the backlog the organizations have without needing to sacrifice arm and a leg just to achieve those. So I think the low code is for insurance is a very again a very unique value proposition simply because of the fact that it enables insurance organizations to create things that they didn't think of before. So for example, if you look at one of our great customer examples in Iceland called Viz, they created an application that is both telematic and behavioral driven application to understand how a user is driving on the road to improve their insurance premium or reduce their insurance premium by looking at 5 key characteristics. So that is their driving speed, acceleration, how often do they brake, how do they take their corners, what is the phone use. And what is interesting is that within the first release, it was the most downloaded app in Iceland in the first day. In the history of app downloads, and then also it improved 40% of the drivers in the road, so which basically means that insurance companies have to pay out less, and which basically means that they increase their profit margin in the end, right? So this is what out platforms like OutSystems that is very unique in the marketplace enables insurance organizations to deliver to their customers as well as to keep on innovating. Another example is Fidelidade in Portugal. They started experimenting with face-to-face or remote meeting with their doctors way before COVID started. This was an experimental project that they started. And by the time COVID happened, they didn't even to implement anything because they were already ready. So this in platforms like OutSystems, especially OutSystems, enable you to not only connect to your existing system, but also to systems that is coming in the future. So we constantly keep up with the marketplace so that the insurers doesn't have to worry about the technology stack that is behind the scenes. So I think OutSystems fortunately have good pedigree. I'm lucky to be there. I started at the company when it was just about 200 employees nearly 8-9 years ago. And now we are nearly 2,000 employees scattered across 16 countries or 14 countries. And we are distributed applications across 85 countries, nearly 400 odd partners across the world, and nearly 600,000 community and nearly 100 million users across the world uses OutSystem applications. And some applications, nothing to do with insurance, obviously, is things like with Western Union money transfer, which is going to be released shortly. There, for example, is going to be supported by OutSystem behind the scenes. So you can imagine the amount of scalability that OutSystem provides. So in 3 simple words, why? It's seamless, it's secure, and it's scalable. I think from the key point of view that I see in the industry is the lack of innovation in the sense of risk averseness, because insurers are not just insurance, any big organization, especially in the finance industry, they are scared of taking a risk to do something, because taking that risk requires them to really spend a lot of money and a lot of effort, at the end of the day not realize whether that's going to bring in the value or not. Whereas with platforms like OutSystems, enable insurers to constantly innovate and take that risk without having to sacrifice those financial burden, or without having that financial burden, which basically means that insurers can innovate something, implement and deliver it to the market, see it failing fast or succeeding fast, and then make it productized. So we have a lot of insurance that does that. That would come up with Fidelidad, again, is another great example. They have a team of 60 developers dedicated to OutSystems, where they test a new product every 3 to 3 to 6 weeks or 6 weeks to 9 weeks or something like that in a very short period of time. They would release about 10, 12 different products every year to see what works. And if something fails, then they remove it. If something succeeds, it goes back into their main portfolio. So they can continuously innovate so that they can keep ahead of the market disruptors. So Fidelidad, for example, and a lot of about 150, 200 insurers across the world that uses OutSystems have realized that it gives them a unique capability not to be disrupted by the disruptors in the market. Oh, it's great. I think there's a lot of presence from a large number of insurers here. So I'm looking forward to catching up and meeting and seeing the problems to understand how we can solve those for those companies and organizations.